Okay, my name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here, this is actually a requested video, but we are going to be talking about potential synchro units that we could get in the future. I've got 6 in this video, and the more I think about it, it's very obvious what these 6 are, so I'm not just going to talk about them in the sense that it would be cool if we get these units. I'm going to think up some potential mechanics that these specific synchro units could have. It should go without saying that this is going to be specifically Fusion Warriors and the main ones that we hope to see in the future. We already have Fusing Super Vegito with the Rising Rush mechanic and Fusing Gogeta Blue with the Strike Assault mechanic, so seeing that we could get some in the future, it could be very interesting to see what they could have. But yeah, we've got 6 to talk about in this video. You guys should know who they are. Let's get into this. Right, so cool. We are going to be starting with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, considering we did just get an Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, but this is as if we got a Synchro Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta fusing into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. The timing is actually funny as well with all the Kaba base Kaba destroying Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. But anyways, for the video as well, I'm only going to talk about the post fusion, so that's when they would get their main mechanic, because the tag switching is pretty much just regular for most cases. So I think it would be pretty fun if G4 here, he's still kind of untouchable if he was to be a synchro unit, but they make it in a more hilarious sense. They make it so that he has a like party mechanic. Now you're probably thinking, what the hell is this Zach guy talking about, right? But I was thinking about this, and I think it would be super cool where if he had this party mechanic, he could turn any of his enemies' attacks into like confetti. Now this could be mad funny or mad toxic, probably the second one. And it could happen, let's say 5 times or maybe 3 times a game. 5 times might be excessive, depending on the requirements to fill it. But it would like be a similar gauge how he already has. But let's say it doesn't just fill from him taking attacks, it fills from him also outputting attacks, and then when he receives an attack, he would be able to activate this party mechanic. Now this party mechanic can activate on literally everything, and I think everything makes a lot of sense because of the length they went for Super Vegito having the Rising Rush that ultimately wins. So if you just happen to send the next attack and he switched in, even how like his UG4's counter can counter pretty much every single art card, if you switch into Synchro's G4 after he's transformed and he's got his gauge filled, it will empty on the next attack that is received and stop the combo. It will turn it into confetti. So if you send a strike art, he might do something a little different, you know. He's got his funny animations in the game, like when he be laughing, or like when he stood there and he just took the punch and you get sent back. Or it could be you know, when he was doing the Kamehameha and he turned it to confetti, but instead your attack turns into confetti, and they just customize it, similar to how they had custom animations for Super Vegito with the Kakarot animations, you know. So if you send the Rise and Rush his way, he could like just counter it, because the timing of you Rise and Rushing, knowing that he has his gauge filled, obviously is going to allow his counter to activate the party mechanic. I think it would be super funny because Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is a jokester, and they like to make people's kits built around what they actually did in the series. And I think because how jokey G4 was going, the route he took with fighting Omega Shenron, it would make a lot of sense. But I think it would just be super funny but super OP as well. And like, it would be the irony of you being irritated that he's having a party or just enjoying his time with you, just trolling you, and you're trying to actually smoke him. You're trying to hit him with strike cards, blast arts, ultimate arts. You might hit him with a green card, you know, and he just switches in. Or if you hit him as soon as his gauge fills while he's already being attacked, then his counter activates, and then it's confetti if it's a blast art or a blue card, you know. I think that'll just be super funny, just because G4 is obviously a jokey character, the way he was dealing with Omega Shenron. But of course, that was probably the best thing I could have thought of, so they just don't make another untouchable counter like Ultra G4. But let me know what you guys think about that one. Let me know what you guys think about everyone or your favorite one in this video. But that's the first one, Synchro G4 with the party mechanic. I think that would be hilarious. Next up, we got Synchro Vegito Blue. Synchro Vegito Blue, I've got a cracked mechanic for this guy, but he's also going to be similar to UG4. He's going to be a counter demon. Now, G4's mechanic, right, it doesn't do damage when you hit the counter. But if you watched the Future arc and you saw how Vegeta was fighting corrupted Zamasu, he was specifically only countering that boy up to a certain point. Then he went ahead and tried to hit the final Kamehameha, and you know, he diffused, because that final Kamehameha might have been the most destructive thing in the entire series we've ever seen. Well, cool. It's final Kamehameha for a reason. But we know he defused, but that's besides the point. Going into his mechanic, I would say he should have a counter mechanic that deals damage. Now, this counter mechanic needs to happen more than 3 times, or if it happens 3 times, it needs to do a lot of damage. The way Vegito was fighting Zamasu would get the upper hand. If you watch it carefully, because Zamasu would send out a powerful attack, a punch, whatever, but then Vegito was doing counter, so he's hitting like the spirit sword, you know, at one point. Like, he's always doing a move to get around Corrupted Zamasu's attacks that were already very powerful. Corrupted Zamasu was not no weak antagonist, no weak villain. And I feel like if you're in PvP, after a certain amount of cards, so it would be a simple thing where his gauge fills. It would be a basis on when he takes damage, so it has to be like G4s, Ultra G4s. It wouldn't be a basis where he's able to press cards or anything like that. It would simply have to be something that activates once his gauge fills from taking damage. Now, maybe if they wanted to make it better, they would allow it to fill if his allies also take damage, and then he can switch in and hit a counter to protect his allies. But in most cases, it would be like the Spirit Sword that happens. So if it's a strike card, it'd be a Spirit Sword, or he could send a couple key attacks if it's going to be a blast attack that he's countering. It would literally be similar to UG4s, but he's going to dish out damage at the same time, because that's simply how Vegito Blue was fighting in the future arc. I didn't really talk about this with G4, as in Synchro G4, but I'm assuming these guys would all have blue card LFs. Potentially, they could have an ultimate art if they spawn it through a weird way, you know, like a condition has to be met. If their last stand, they get ultimate arts that also leads into their legendary finish, but they could legendary finish you through blue cards. That could be pretty dope, because we don't see tag switch units or synchro units. Even, is there any like revival units with ultimate arts? I don't think so. My memory isn't working the best right now, but I don't think so. We don't see any unit that pretty much transforms have a ultimate arts with an LF. I feel like I'm missing somebody obvious. Quote me on that. I'm not doing too much thinking right now. But yeah, the main thing is that Vegito Blue, Synchro Vegito Blue, would have the counter mechanic. He would always be doing things that, essentially, if you deal too much damage to him or his allies, if he switches in or he's on the battlefield, you try to do another card, he's going to dish out a counter that does damage to you. So you get punished for consistently trying to punish him. It's like a Golden Freezer's comeback mechanic mixed in with a G4 counter, which is super useful. I think it should happen 3 times or 5 times, depending on how much damage it does. If it's not a lot of damage, then 5 times, but I prefer it to do a lot of damage, so 3 times. Most gauges work 3 times and they disappear. Especially with the fact that Vegito Blue diffused, it shouldn't happen too many times, because there should be a timer on how much he exists on the battlefield, but they're not going to give him a timed transformation because he's Delito. We need him permanent. They don't want him to be trash. He's the Legends poster boy, you know. But yeah, that's my idea for Vegito. It's like a counter attack that does damage, basically, consistently. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Alright, next up we got Super Gogeta, Z Super Gogeta, Synchro Super Gogeta. This one I actually thought of. I think I'm cooking with this one, but hear me out. So, Super Gogeta, he's basically going to have Ultra Super Vegito's gauge. However, he can activate it through anything. Because Super Gogeta was not messing around when he was fighting Super Janemba. He was not messing about, but he had to take that guy out. He wanted him dead. He needed him smoked immediately. He was damn near fighting for his life, but not in the sense that he saw Janemba as a threat. It was simply to eradicate the evil that was Super Janemba. So cool. He did not mess around. That fight ended in like 40 seconds. This guy here will have Ultra Super Vegito's gauge, but it can activate through anything. Anything, except Rising Rushes. So you hit a strike art, he's gonna phase through it or something, and then he starts his combo just like that. He gets maybe 3 seconds of cover null from that counter activating. You know, like how Corrupted Zamasu, the Zenkai, when you hit a strike art, you get a couple seconds of cover null for the first strike. The same thing with Kid Buu, I believe. And I don't know if anybody else has it, but those two I specifically know. Zenkai Kid Buu, LF Kid Buu does that. Super Gogeta would be the exact same thing. So once you hit the counter, you're able to get cover null for a bit of time. And Ultra Super Vegito actually got cover null from doing his counter. However, it's pretty useless if your combo doesn't start, because then you're running down the timer counter of your cover null without having a combo started, and that's very risky, you know. Super Gogeta is going to be an improved version of that, where he's also able to do a bit of damage to you from doing the counter, and then he would also be able to continuously basically continue his combo. But the only downside of having this is that his general cover null will be less. Maybe they give him cover null in his green card, but then they make it only 5 timer counts, maybe 8, because 10 timer counts is excessive in my opinion. So yeah, that would be his main thing. He'll be phasing through all the time. You know, his animations, he can do backflips, he does everything, man. Super Goji is cool as hell. But yeah, I think that would be the best way to build a Synchro Super Gogeta from the Fusion Reborn movie. He would be so fire if he had that mechanic. I think that's the best thing suited for him. Unless they're going to make something out of thin air, it would have to be him phasing through attacks just like Ultra Super Vegito already has. But they at least make it beneficial to the player so it actually starts a combo. Maybe if they make it so that he could only phase through if he has a blue card in his hand or a green card, maybe both of those. So the green card could also be a counter in addition, and then the blue card is the only way he can phase through, whereas we know Ultra Super Vegito can only stop, like his counter can only activate if you do a strike against a blast. With with Synchro Super Gogeta, if he hits a blue card against any attack coming his way, even if it's late, it activates the counter, you know? So it could be a green card beam, it could be an explosive green, it could be a strike card, blast arts, ultimate arts. The counter is going to activate, he's gonna go through, phase through, do a backflip, flips, whatever it is, and then his combo starts and he dishes out a bit of damage. I think that's a good way to nerf it, because if it's like a strike arts against any single attack, it would also free him from time those taps, which I wouldn't want. That's a bit too much. So at the cost of the blue card, you're going to get your key back, and let's say he draws a card as well, you get a couple seconds of cover no, and this can happen infinite times in a game. So if as long as he has a blue card, in his deck, he can do it whenever, right? That might be a bit cracked, but at the cost of a blue card. And let's say his blue cards are super expensive, make his blue cards cost 70, so he's not like just spamming it, you know, because if his blue cards cost 50, boy, that's the base level, that's too much. But if it costs 70, 80, he can't just do it whenever, he has to be intending to counter. It would actually cause people to be passive as well, but it's going to be a bit obvious with the people being passive with using Synchro Super Gogeta, but I think it's the best way to build him. Let me know what you guys think about that though. We're going to call it like the phase gauge. You know, he just phases through attacks. It's pretty nice. Now, I had to get really creative when it came to Gotenks. Gotenks, I love Gotenks' design. I actually think low-key, specifically because of his hair, if he didn't have the Vegeta hairline, bro, if he didn't have the V, if they didn't give him the V, he would be top 2 designs. The V, I'm not messing with it, but it's cool either way. Alright, cool. So, looking at Gotenks, right? We know his Ghost Kamikaze attack. I think his main mechanic should rely around that. And if you've played Kakarot, or any Dragon Ball game in most cases, but I'm specifically going to reference Kakarot, Gotenks always sends his ghost to fight you, basically. And what I'm trying to imply is it gives Gotenks like 2 chances to get parry. So what I'm thinking is, when his gauge is filled, he can activate these ghosts through his green card, and it can happen 3 times in a battle, right? So he hits the green card, he spits out 2 ghosts. These 2 ghosts are 2 opportunities to get parry. Insane, right? Or maybe 1 ghost, so it's not too excessive. He spits out 1 ghost. It can be, they can make Gotenks base form when they Goten and Trunks fuse. It can be Super Saiyan, it can be Super Saiyan 3, it doesn't matter, right? But the point is, he uses the Ghost Kamikaze attack. When his gauge is filled, similar to like hit time skip, if he hits his green card, he's going to be able to spit out a ghost, right? And that ghost is like a shadow clone, like imagine like a Naruto shadow clone. That ghost goes in for the attack. If the ghost gets hit, you go back to a stalemate, so you lose nothing. But if the ghost doesn't get hit, then you continue to fight with the ghost, if that makes sense. There's no cost of fighting with the ghost, it's literally going to be a white version of Gotenks. But the minute you get hit with a card, the ghost disappears, and then you're just back to where you was. So even if you vanish with the ghost, you're still the ghost until you get hit with something. It could be tap attacks. That's the downside of it. It can be tap attacks, a card arts, a strike, blast, blue, ultimate, rising rush. Rising rush and a ghost is going to be mad dumb. So like if somebody tries to hit you from a rising rush, you switch it to Gotenks, press the green, they rising rush the ghost, it doesn't damage you, you know, because it's Gotenks. It's basically having like a spare shadow clone like Naruto would use in Naruto. What am I talking about? Trying to think of another name for the series. But hopefully that makes sense. You're basically using the ghost as an opportunity to get priority, and the ghost doesn't disappear until the enemy has some sort of attack on the ghost, whether it's a tap shot, a tap attack, something. You have to hit the ghost for it to disappear. And then if you really want to put the icing on the cake, when the ghost disappears, it deals just a tiny bit of damage because it explodes, right? Depending on if the ghost is hit from long range or close range. So if you type attack it from close range, it's gonna blow up in your face. That's gonna do damage. If you take it out from mid range or long range, it's not gonna do any damage because it wasn't point blank. You know, I think that would be a cool mechanic for Gotenks. Make him a little Legends Limited. Synchro Gotenks would go crazy if he had that mechanic. It'll literally be revolved around his Ghost Kamikaze attack. And I think that would be fire, bro. It would actually make him an insane competitor. I think it's one of my best ideas in this video yet. It might be the best idea in this video yet, point blank. But yeah, shout out my boy Gotenks. I mess with Gotenks heavily. That's why I had to give him the mechanic of death. I couldn't let him slide going outside. He has to go out crazily because he was actually going up against Super B or would have smoked his ass probably. So yeah, that's Gotenks. Let me know what you guys think about that. I love that one. I personally love that one. Alright, so with Kefla here, I think this is also a mechanic that could have went to like a lot of other characters. For example, let's take Broly. This could go to specifically a ultra version of the DBS Broly. It's a mechanic I thought of, but I specifically going to use Kefla because Kefla is obviously a beast as well in the way she was working in the Tournament Power. You know, everybody knows when she was going berserk against Ultra UI. When she's going berserk against UI Goku, she was sending out these attacks. I'm not really concerned about anything that she hit. She was damn near going for the kill. If you watch the actual fight when UI Goku is dodging all of her attacks, he actually grazes his hair a bit and his hair damn near disintegrates. Goku kisses his teeth. He's like, damn, he could have got fried if any of those attacks hit him. I feel like Kefla was trying to kill Goku. She did not give a damn. She got anger issues. So I'm thinking if they give her this like rage mode type of gauge, where for a short period of time, any damage that she does in that period of time will be consistently dealt to the enemies that are also off the battlefield. So it's going to be like a consistent AoE, right, that you can activate once you fill her gauge. This can happen 3 times in a battle. So from fighting just the person in front of you, you'll be consistently damaging everybody else on the sidelines. So you know how you can do ultimate artists that have AoE damage, for example, Ultra Vegeta or Blue. If Kefla is, for example, blue and she's hitting a red, that red with the AoE damage with its ultimate arts is going to nuke the whole sideline. But in this case, it's going to be like a rage mode for so maybe for 10 timer counts, right? Every single strike arts, blast arts, blue card, whatever that she deals is going to deal damage to your allies on the sideline, because Kefla was hitting those crazy attacks, you know, with the spinny wheels trying to take out Goku, but Goku just wasn't having it. But this would be insanely OP. They should also make this girl what color is UI Goku? Yellow, so she needs to be red. She needs to be red. Synchro Kefla, Caulifla and KO fusing to make Kefla. And they just have this insane rage mode that deals consistent AoE damage. So you're not just fighting the person in front of you, you're able to deal damage to the people on the sideline, which is overwhelming, you know. It's going to allow the battles to go a lot faster, and you have to be careful about the units you pick when you're fighting this girl. Because if she's red and you're fighting a yellow, the yellow AoE damage is going to be a lot more to the guys on the sideline because you're fighting a yellow. And that's going to be very inconvenient. So if you see Kefla on the battlefield and you're yellow in the hypothetical that she's red, boy, that's going to be a problem. But that rage mode damage will be insane, especially if she's Zenkai buffed while she's on the boost. This could be something that could be very, very crazy depending on how Legends execute it, if her kit's actually good. I just realized that image down below is crazy as hell, but it's good enough to fit in the video without me getting cooked, you know. But yeah, overall, I think Kefla could be a berserker type of character. And now that you've heard the mechanic that I basically put on her, you could see why I think it would work well for DBS Broly as an Ultra. But for Synchro Kefla, I think this is like the best way I could have gone about it. So let me know what you guys think about it. Overall, I think it's like the best thing you could give to her. There's no way to end it, of course, unless you Rising Rush her or you just get priority over her so she's not dealing damage to you. It will just end in like 10 timer counts or 15 timer counts or something, and it can probably 10 timer counts, and it can what was I gonna say? It can happen 3 times on a battlefield. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Kefla. I think it'll be suited for her. It makes a lot of sense. Now, what type of video would this be if I didn't talk about Fusion Zamasu? The guys have been begging for this guy as an Ultra, but of course this could easily be a Synchro unit with having Zamasu and Goku Black fusing into this guy. This guy, obviously, he has a god complex, right? And he was actually the hardest person for me to think of a mechanic for that would be actually unique. But overall, I think it should be something that allows him to adapt over anybody that he's fighting against. I feel like taking from Rose in general, he was very much adapting to the strengths of Goku and Vegeta. So overall, he should just be able to adapt somehow. Now, how would they go about that? That's the big question. That's the big question at hand. I was trying to figure out for a long time. And I think the best way to go about it is to give him buffs based on the damage he's receiving every single card. So he wouldn't exactly have a gauge. The main thing in his kit would simply be revolved around increasing his damage output. And you suffer from making the battle go on longer. This guy needs to be rising rushed. So in general, his kit is going to be glass, but he's always going to scale to the damage that he's taking. So it's good to build him defensively so he can absorb more damage, but he's also not going to be tanky in the first place. But he'll become stronger defensively as the battle goes on, and he'll basically get buffs, but it's like an almost unlimited sense. So if you are fighting this guy and he is alive till like the last 10 time accounts, this guy will literally be top 1 in the game even 10 years down the line. That's what Fusion Zamasu needs to be. He needs to be the adaptation master, literally Maharaga. And I think that makes perfect sense. This guy was consistently cooking. He was just increasing in strength for damn near no reason, because he has the Saiyan's potential at the same time, you know. It's quite absurd. It's quite absurd how powerful Zamasu could have been depending on his opponent. Similar to like Devious Broly, but Broly capped out. He kind of capped out when Gogeta was there, you know. But I feel like Zamasu can actually reach unreal heights of potential because of the same potential that he also has, given that he was Goku Black and obviously just Zamasu with the God Key. How they would go about balancing this, I do not know. But I think it makes a lot of sense for him. I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree right now. Maybe they'd make it, like I said, it would scale towards the damage he can output. So it basically makes him an eternal unit that can always fit in every single meta. Where 5 years down the line, they're dropping Ultra Ego Vegeta, right, doing the most damage in the game. But because Fusion Zamasu is able to adapt to whoever he's fighting, he will always scale. So he'll be like the unit with the most longevity, but they need to make it so that he's not consistently a top 1 unit. So the rest of his kit might simply be bland. He doesn't do anything spectacular. He doesn't have any other mechanic. He's simply just someone that can adapt in strength, but it's at the cost of him taking damage. So if that first hit he takes damn near wipes him out, he's not going to be able to adapt in strength, and I think that's a good way to nerf him. He's going to be generally glass. Once he falls off the boost, he's going to hell. Overall, I think that's the best way to go about him. It wasn't easy to come up with that, but that's what I've concluded. Let me know you guys think maybe it's too OP, but I think it works well for the type of god he is, you know. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video. That's all the fusions that I've got. We went through Super Gogeta, Vegito Blue, G4, Kefla, Gotenks, and Fusion Zamasu. I don't think I missed anybody, and even if I did, these are the ones that just make the most sense, you know. The straight canon. G4's not canon, but you know, canon, the ones that we've seen throughout the series. But yeah, man, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said, this was a requested video by not Goku. He knows who he is. But the video was very much suited to the fact that now that we've got Fusing Super Vegeta and Fusing Gogeta Blue, it's very likely we're going to get more synchro units in the future. So people would like to see what they could do. And I think the mechanics I thought up were very, very interesting in this video. But of course, you guys let me know you guys' thoughts about what I said in this video. I think I've hit the nail on some of these characters. Like, they couldn't get better mechanics if you ask me. I gave them top tier mechanics. My favorite personally was Gotenks. Gotenks mechanic is crazy. I love that one. I need that in the game today. Well, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, man. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.